there's a folder called show assets it could be in, but that's all.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show, where we're talking everything personal development, coaching, health, and the law. I'm your host, Jay, here with co-host Janine.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Please join us on Facebook, where we can be found at the Momentum Mindset Show. And if you want to call in and be part of the show, we would love to hear from you. It's 888-565-1470. And if being on live radio is not your thing, no problem. Send us your comments and we will interact with you on Facebook.
Let's create some momentum. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the
hello,
Momentum
everybody.
Mindset Show.
Welcome. I am your host, Janine Davis, and
I'm just some good-looking guy that just hangs out here and doesn't really have a...
you know what? That's a great introduction. Okay, sure.
Well, no, they say in show business you got to like do something to stand out. You have there's wait, no, I was going to say no press is bad press, but I don't think that has anything to do with what I just did. So I'm your host, Jay Farrow, and welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show. It is Friday, September the 11th, and we would take a moment to commemorate the occasion and check in with what that day meant to us and what it meant to me. And I shared earlier that I was in law school at the time, and I went into the student lounge, and this is after the first plane had. I actually left the campus. I finished my first class, left the campus, and then I was listening to the news in my car. It just came on in my car, and then I turned around and went to the student lounge, and people started to congregate, and then more and more, and you had like half the student body watching these two televisions. And anyway, it was a deeply impactful day, and we were on the show, the Brooklyn Cafe, you and I earlier, and we were talking about how do you move on from something like that, and it invites a greater conversation of how does one handle grief and pain and shift then the experience into something that's very, very positive. Hey Glennie, you
hey, Glennie.
Talk about some people that are going through it. Glennie's been posting a lot of pictures of the people that are going through those fires out in the Pacific Northwest, and some satellite pictures. You can see all the smoke and the ash that's in the air. It's quite an amazing sight. Unfortunately, we're praying for those people tonight as well. So.
Well, it is. You're saying praying for the people who are going through it. We are all in it together, whether we realize it or not. We're not experiencing fires, but we experience hurricanes. We all have the human experience of sometimes finding ourselves in challenge and in adversity. And as a nation 19 years ago, we were stunned and injured and broken from the experience. But we came back together as a nation, as a collective, as neighbors. Whether you're from New York or not, we all really felt with you. We felt it as a nation. And I think it speaks to the collective connection that we have. We don't need to be from the Pacific Northwest to feel for the people who are there and send them well wishes or assistance in any way that we can. So we are part of something much greater than just ourselves and our nuclear family. We're part of a world, and if COVID has shown us anything, I will say that it has. Hi, Cheryl. I would say that COVID has really been an incredible equalizer. It has scanned the globe. It has no monetary, it's not if you're rich or poor, are you getting it or you're not getting it? You are exposed to it. been a great equalizer in many ways. Just to sort of reinforce the idea that we are all human beings and we have these shared experiences that can bring us closer together
And I
and
think
call
that
for
the tragedies, they say that, you know, and we've seen it.
hmm
I wanted to share this because it's relevant to me today. There's always been a September 11th type event in every generation. You know, there's before that there was the Vietnam War. Before that, you
Yeah,
know, the Iran, the hostages being taken. There was before that you had World War One, World War Two, and the Korean conflict, and you had, you know, there's always something going on in the world, and it's things that we're not even present to. I mean, September 11th was a huge deal to us, but there's things that are going on overseas, tragedies and atrocities that we're not even
yes,
present to. I mean, and there's
yes, correct.
there's there's so many different things that are going on in the world that life um, can't wait. Your life can't wait for circumstances. In other words, there's always going to be a reason not to feel good. There's always going to be a reason to feel like the world's crashing on you, and it's a matter of focus and perspective. And while there's all of these quote unquote bad things, um, I read something today. I was a commemoration of September 11th, and it was an interesting perspective. It was saying one person lived because their alarm clock didn't go off. Another person lived because they got stuck in traffic. Another
Yep,
person lived because it was his day to pick up the donuts. Uh, one person that their
imagine.
child was sick and called out to kindergarten, so they stayed home with the child that day. And um, what the perspective was, you know, sometimes, you know, when anytime the next time you think that your life is burdened because your alarm clock didn't go off, or that your kid is sick, or that, you know, you have to, you know, perform some type of service for the people at the office, you know, think about how those moments also can define your life. And
Right,
moments uh, those moments, those choices that we all make are life defining. And actually, I had it one of my Facebook posts pop up to me the other day about the defining moments in my life are not my birthdays. It's not the holidays. It's not a big court case. It's not a big client win. It's actually when I wake up in the morning and choose to work out as opposed to sleeping in. It's the times when I don't want to eat the way that I eat, and the times that I want to slip back into being unhealthy. Every choice that I make is the choice of a momentum mindset. It's the choice to keep going no matter what. I mean, there was always circumstances, you know, in the business that we're in. And we were sharing today that with one of our collaborators and consultants, that the work that we do here in our business is very heavy. It is very dangerous at times. You know, people are like, "Oh, you're just a lawyer." Well, we're prosecuting what we say is organized crime in civil court. I mean, these guys on the other side are spending God untold amounts of money and
right,
willing to do anything to get out of being called out for committing crime. And there's always something that there's a way to take something home in the office. But I've been successful in getting in my car, and I put on some music, and then I'm going home. Um, but there's always that feeling inside of me that what I'm doing is so new, and no one's charted a path like this before. So there's always these fears that come up, and if I choose to, I can let my fears interfere with me living my life. And if I'm going to live my life the way that I want to, I got to figure out a way to be okay in any moment. In any moment, I get to develop a mindset of seeing the good as opposed to the tragedy.
yeah,
You know, seeing the blessing and seeing the blessing in the challenge. Um, because otherwise, I mean, for someone like me, on the way that I'm wired, it's catastrophe. That was my previous mindset. And it was always me looking for a safe place to be for just a moment. Oh, I'm safe. And, and I'm comfortable. Okay. I don't want this to move. But now I'm looking at it in a flow and realizing that as challenges come up, okay, this is what it is. It's just like another rep in the gym. It's like, I'm just going to work through it, and this too shall pass, and keeping going no matter what. So in the tragedy of 9/11, you see a nation coming together. You see a nation rebuilding together. You see neighbors having stuff in common. Do you know that President Bush's approval rating right after 9/11 went up to 90%? I think it was around 45 or 50% from the day before. It's like that. It's like moments like this can shift the perspective of what it means to be American. And unfortunately now, I mean, I don't know, what that would look like today, but certainly during this area, this COVID, I'm not letting it interfere anymore with, or I'm learning to live with it such that way I can advance my life.
Right. I think there's a time with COVID or with anything, there's an adjustment period, right? Where the event happens and you have your reaction to it, and then you sort of mitigate any emergencies that may have been born out of the event. And then there is that period of time where you're trying to find your legs and it's scary and you're indecisive, and it's just a really weird time. And then you figure out, oh, I am the most adaptable creature on the planet as a human being. Let me figure out a way to thrive and do the best that I can with this new environment that I'm in. And so it's a period of adjustment before you can get to that point of choosing the perspective of like, okay, this is happening for me to an extent. Let me figure out what it is that I can do. How can I thrive in this? How can I pivot and make it work for me? So I think that that's certainly something that is part of the human spirit, where we can get down and dazed and confused for a time, but we don't stay down. We will always look for that perspective change, or that, like you said today, Dawn, our producer, said it's so good to see us with smiles. And we have had many more smiles lately. And it's not so much because our circumstances have changed, but it really is a perspective change that we've experienced. Like, okay, so we're in this. Let's figure out how we're going to make this a great time in our lives, no matter what. For you personally, you've got some really exciting things going on, which I'll let you share. And then in our business, we keep going. We keep going. We have some hiccups. We have people who think we're great. We have some people who not so much, and still we find our own groove and what that all means to us. So it really is a question of perspective and making sense of the world around you.
And I want to give us some acknowledgments. Yes, I do have some big news, and so I'll get into that in a second. We hired during the worst pandemic since the Spanish flu 100 years ago. Our business, we have hired people. We are looking to hire more people. We've given our employees raises. All of our employees raises during this time. And that's because we have the capacity to see what we can create in chaos. And that's really, like, you guys, like, we talk about the law firm all the time. We have another business of the Momentum Mindset program, and that business that Janine and I have been working on, on and off for the last couple of years, is to create the life that you want, starting with the life that you have when you wake up and you're 40 something years old and you're like, wait a second. All the stories I heard in my life were just bullshit. All the things that I grew up with and believed about me not being enough, and that my family people only stayed in this one town and worked in the mill, and that's it, and that's the way things go because that's status quo. So we've been working on this, and so when we started this, maybe 2.5 years ago. This was only we didn't know where this was going to go. We just said that our lives were going to go to a place or to create the world we want to live in. For me personally, I said that was going to involve being a husband, getting married for the first time, and hey, what's up, Louise? Getting married for the first time, and then eventually having kids, and then building the business of my dreams as far as practicing law in the area that I wanted to practice in. Mind you, 4 years ago, when I was sick, and coming up in November, it'd be 4 years since I was like literally on death's door. I mean, crawling from that moment of actual death, and then coming to where I'm saying that I'm getting married. My business. I saw my taxes. I saw my taxes recently going up from 17, 18, and 19, or the 18 to 19, and the progression's up 100% from one year to the next, and we're now over. We doubled that or tripled that. This year. And so you put all of this stuff together, and it's like this stuff works. Writing down and becoming intentional about the life that you want to create works. The universe does work with you. There is something to this secret.
It will conspire with you.
Yeah. Right, the universe is going to conspire to give you exactly what you want. So when we say that, when I get all of these things that don't put smiles on our faces, like when our opposing sides are coming after us directly, suing us directly, sending over motions for sanctions against us directly. Okay, well, guess what? I asked for this, and I said this today to somebody. I said, I know the universe is giving me what I want because I'm getting all of these prescriptions to become the best of the best of the best. And only when you've asked to become the best of the best of the best are you going to come up against the worst of the worst of the worst, especially in our business.
Yep.
Because eventually, in order to I know this is, I don't want to put this in a. Ric Flair, this wrestler, used to had the sayings: "In order to be the man, you got to beat the man." Okay, and as
wait,
say
that again.
In order to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Okay.
So as we're looking out and we're seeing our opponents, a lot of people that have been doing this work in fraud and the crimes that they've been committing in their businesses have been doing it for a long time, and their lawyers who've been supporting them have been supporting them doing that for a long time. Keeping them, out of harm's way, so to speak, through the legal system or otherwise. And so, they have a pretty set way of doing things, and people are looking at us saying, "Hey, where did you guys come from?" Now on paper, I mean, we had a firm that was doing a certain kind of work. So now when people look at it, like, wait a second, what are these people? But what you don't figure in is that, yes, whatever this looks like, but there's other people that we have. It's called building a team, and I think what people miss that. Is that anything that you're doing, you build a team, you pick a LeBron James, you put him on your team, and that makes your team better. When we sang in the choir at church, there was people that were professional opera singers. Mm-hmm. And every time that they showed up, which is every Sunday, but when they didn't show up, it was noticeable. There's a guy I sat next to who is a PhD, and he was also a bass, and his range was like all over the place. But I sang better when I was next to him. I think you had said the same thing about.
Oh my gosh, same for me. I was sitting. Well, I was very lucky that I was a friend and sort of like a little pet to the lead soprano in this section, and she would reach the notes, and it would give me courage to meet her there. She made me better 110%, and she allowed me to understand that my body was ready, willing, and able to make the same sounds. And she imparted a lot of wisdom in terms of singing. So it is that high tide raises all ships. And the concept of team and giving your best to team is really an important thing for us. And I think we're growing into that more and more. And we are not, I don't think, protective of it in a negative sense, but I think that we're aware of it, and we want to continue to grow a team that has similar values and adds in a way that we can flourish together instead of creating crazy crazy fun, but not crazy bad.
So the program, and then, and we're working our way back to this. I mean, eventually it doesn't maybe not even happen this year, where we work our way back to create a program of transformation that
Mhm.
is a lifestyle shift, not a fad, not not a motivational program. It's something that if someone wants to take something as seriously as we've taken it in the last couple of years, in this
Mhm.
area of personal development, to become so intentional about your life that after 2 years, actually, I'm now, in year 3 of my total life transformation, where that day count that I have on my Facebook page is from the first day that I started my body transformation back in 2018, and I'm still eating 5 meals a day. And I'm still, I meditate 20 minutes a day. Then I work out 7 days a week. I mean, all of these things now have transformed into the business once my body was in better shape, to where I'm able to focus on my work during the workday for 2 to 3 hours of actual work time. And that's probably the biggest win of this year is me building the muscle for myself to do the legal research and writing and in blocks of time consistently. Because before I was able to do it, and then I'd have to take a couple days after. I'm like, well, what's going on with me? My mind was not in shape to do that type of work consistently.
So I
But
just answered Glennie, actually. We're working on it, Glennie. I just shared in the feed that the law firm is taking up a lot of our bandwidth. And sometimes we have to stop what we're doing in the business rather abruptly to get on for the show. But we are mindful. We are cooking up some good things for the rebroadcast or the return of the 1 hour show, and refreshing our whole momentum mindset, everything. So bear with us, and thank you for your support, really, always.
doing one thing and doing one thing well, there's something to be said about that. And this, and I've read the book, Just One Thing, and we've talked about it. But I think it's important to keep the pilot light on for the other things in your life that are important as well. And as
Absolutely.
long as that pilot light is lit, whether that be music or this show, even if it's half an hour now, for the next month, we kept a pilot light on for the concept. Because everything that you see here, everything that we're building, everything filters into it's possible to start your life whenever you really want to. And if you really want to go after it and become whatever you want to become, it's never too late. It's never too late. The only thing holding you back is yourself. Only all the time. That's the key to the whole deal, is that you are the only person to get in your own way. That's it. I was the only one, and I'm still getting in my own way, but it's getting better with the momentum mindset. I mean, there's things I'm able to walk through today. Difficult
Yeah.
conversations like we've had today.
Mhm.
Difficult conversations that are coming up next week.
Yep.
And looking forward to that as a period of growth, and not from a shame or guilt or it's really grungy to think about, but from a true space of, wow, it's possible. I might actually be in service to another human being by being honest with them, because most people wouldn't be this honest, but hey, this is how we experienced you, and you need to know that was our issue, or that one of our issues, uh, that type of service, um, honesty.
Yep. Honesty
I,
goes a long way.
I'm thinking that you had mentioned there's something about acknowledging us, because I was going around the office saying we didn't make enough videos this week, but we got 4 done, I think,
Yeah,
or
we got
3.
several
No,
done.
we got four, and that's like the week before we didn't do any. So, um, it's the things that you focus on if you choose to, you know, um, very proud, very proud of
Yeah,
us.
we've assembled a fantastic team, Jay. We have our associate attorney, we have Gina, who is our investigator of sorts, and now Stephanie, who is our paralegal, and we've assembled a team of people who are dedicated to to their work, to us, to our clients, and we pushed out an extraordinary amount of work this week. Is there more to be done and more to be pushed out? Yes, and there will always be, I suspect. If we're doing it right, there will always be. And I think that taking a moment to acknowledge the fact that we pushed out some 4 pretty beautiful videos. I mean, you know, people on the other side might think that the content isn't so beautiful, but they were really
We
well
tried.
done. And yeah, and they're
You can't,
intentional.
we can't help you if you've done what you've done. I don't know what
Actually,
else.
it's
I
funny
don't know how to say
because
it.
as I was uploading one of the videos to our marketing guy, I said to Jay, I don't ever want to be the subject of one of these videos. So, but yeah, it's good work and it's creative work. I think what I love about it is that we are actually doing things right now that involve a lot of creativity. And I've shared now, this will be the third time I've shared it. In my previous life, I sold fine jewelry and I loved it. I mean, there's nothing for a woman like being around diamonds and gold on a daily basis. Like it's unbelievable. And I loved it. I really, truly loved it. And I worked with some of the closest people to me in life and I really enjoyed it. The challenge was that intellectually it wasn't as stimulating as I needed it to be. And now my intellect, literally my brain is twisted in a noodle all day long, every single day. I mean, Jay and I come in the morning, somewhat bushy-eyed and bunny-tailed, from a night of rest. And then, at the end of the night, both of us look at each other like, oh my God, we're kind of cross-eyed because we've thrown it out on the table, and it's not because I'm not an attorney here that, my brain isn't going constantly and constantly thinking of everything. We're constantly thinking of the cases and our clients and opposing counsel, and it's a lot of strategy. So it's certainly given my brain the workout that it craved for a long time. So I think what I'm trying to say in a very roundabout way too is that I'm proud of what we're doing. And I'm also aware of things that I've wanted are actually coming to pass. There is something about calling it out into the universe, and so it shall be. And I want to encourage people to stick to your dreams and your goals and um, don't give up on yourself. And Jay was saying it is never too late. I agree with that. So yeah, keep going. Everybody knows that I love to say keep going, and I mean it. Keep going. Have a beautiful week. Take the juice out of every day that you can. It's really a privilege to be here in this world, creating the
We'll see you
life that
next week.
you want, starting with the life that you have with your momentum mindset.
See you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Momentum Mindset Show. For your hosts, Jay and Janine, we'll see you here next week. Thank you for being real, authentic, and honest.
If you'd like to reach us, please contact us on our Facebook page, The Momentum Mindset Show, or on our office phone line, which is 954-559-6987.
We are stronger together.
And remember, keep going.